I'm Jamie O'Kane, CPA, Small Business Advanced Tax Planning and Compliance Extraordinaire, and this is the Abundant Beans Podcast, the podcast that takes my love for learning what makes people tick while digging into the good, bad, and ugly of small business ownership. We strive to give you the insight that only those in the trenches of being and working with entrepreneurs can provide. Today, we'd like to welcome to the podcast Rytis. Rytis is the co-founder and CEO of Omnisend, the powerful marketing automation platform that focuses on moving e-commerce marketers beyond the generic email marketing tools. With a mind seemingly crafted for business and an eye to the future, Rytis has gained notoriety with the e-commerce community for lots of words with C's for his insights on omnichannel and the future of e-commerce. Welcome.
Hey, Jamie. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for coming to talk to us about marketing. I've been doing a lot of marketing research lately, so very interesting to hear what you have to say about it because I'm learning. It's one of those things as a business owner that I was like, I guess I should figure out how all this works.
That's what every business owner should be doing at any time, and especially, and I believe at least the part of marketing we are serving, our organization serving, and myself is focused more as kind of retention marketing. So working with the existing customer base, which at this crisis, at any crisis situation, at any crisis or economical meltdown times, it's where all the businesses actually turn their faces back to their existing customers as acquisition cost really increases, and they are a bit more concerned about their budget, etc. And their customers, from a customer's point of view, they prefer buying from the businesses from which we have bought in the past already. They kind of less risk-taking behavior happens at those situations.
That's awesome. So tell us, what was your first job?
Yeah. So first job, which I was paid for. I was working at my mom's. She's eye surgery, and she has a small optic shop. So during my summer holidays, I was working there to replace. As she had only one hire at that optic shop. So when the administrator went for holidays, I replaced her during summertime. That's so cool. That was my first job where I was paid for it.
We all have those chores and stuff. I always tell my kids, you're not my employees, you're my indentured servants.
No, but I was paid. Yeah, that was and I would say she was even pretty generous, paying a bit more than I would probably deserve at that time in the market in general, with zero knowledge and zero skills.
So your mom had her own company then? She was an entrepreneur?
Yeah, she has now as well. She has now for already more than 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So give us a quick synopsis of your career journey.
So I have graduated political sciences, so nothing related to marketing or IT, which apparently I ended up in this industry. So, but since the age of 21, I believe, or 22, I have never been employed. So I used to run my own business or co-run business with someone. So I was invited by a friend to really launch a first company and the first venture. It was really interesting thing that had zero experience, zero knowledge, but I kind of an adventurous person. I'm a kind of adventurous person. So when there's an opportunity to do something interesting and crazy, I'm usually sign on it. So that was exactly the case, and said, why not? Yeah, let's try. I have no clue how to run the business, but it sounds interesting. I want to become a businessman. So since then, I had various different companies, and the first business that was for nowadays, for younger generations, even not impossible to explain now, although I'm not all by myself. But before the smartphones, there were feature phones where you can have a melody for the ringtone instead of just standard melody. You can play the song you like, and it was not fully polyphonic, etc. So we were making those, and the customer just texting, and that's how you receive the melody. Or that was absolute innovation at that time. Colorful screensavers for your phone.
Oh wow! So what kind of phones were those?
It was dominated by Nokia at that time.
Yeah, I was going to say those little Nokia, the little bottom ones. That's what I
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, Motorola was very popular at that time. Samsung was already there, yeah, but yeah, even brands which don't exist now, or if they do exist, they are very weak already, or like went bankruptcy, and maybe someone just took their brand, like Nokia or Motorola. Yeah,
Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, did you see that Motorola put out the new razors, the new razor
the
phones?
new razors. Yeah, with kind of the screen is like blendable there,
Yeah,
something
it's
like
like a
this. Yeah,
bendable, like
bendable.
smart.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
because we loved those phones, right? Like we all had those like little Nokia ones, those were
yeah.
awesome. And that was like, I was like 19 or whatever. Like,
Yeah, that was like 2000, what, 2004, something like this.
oh, it
Yeah.
was before that, I think. Because I think that was the first like phone I bought with my cell phone number was,
Mm-hmm.
the little Nokia one. Everybody wanted those
Yeah.
little ones.
Yep. Yeah. So that was the beginning, and since then, I was running different companies, and
Mhm.
like fast forward like to those days. So but like Omnisend, which is marketing automation tool, is really a spin-off from marketing agency.
Mhm.
So I had like few startup attempts. What startup, like by definition, that it's kind of something like IT related and with
Mhm.
fast growth, global ambition. And like two times I failed, or we failed to go with
Mhm.
co-founders, and like yeah, third attempt seemed to be like rather successful. And between my failures in the startup attempts, I have more traditional businesses, let's say
Mhm.
like digital marketing agency, like serving customers, developing websites, Facebook applications,
Mhm.
doing their email marketing, building their online stores, etc., etc. So basically, that's selling your hours, professional hours for creative as well as like development
Mhm.
hours for the customers. So yeah, and that's how like Omnisend was born. So and initially for a couple of initial years we launched the product and still continue our agency
Mhm.
activities, and actually we were earning money from agency customers and investing into a product. And although like from the very beginning we had quite a good traction, but we struggled to really find a like monetization model for a
Mhm.
couple of years.
Mhm.
And we had like free customers which were using it quite actively, but we didn't find how to ask to pay them and for what would they were willing to pay. So that was kind of a challenge and great lesson to be learned, that one thing is really to provide a product for the market,
Mhm.
which like in our case you see signs that market wants that, but how to ask your customers to pay and how to show the value that
Mhm.
they would be paying for the solution you bring to them, it's another challenge. Yeah, and a lot of experiments, and yeah, so finally we managed to.
That's awesome. So tell us about Omnisend. Like, what does it do? Explain all of that for us, because most of us,
Yeah,
especially
in
me, I
plain,
like
yeah.
to know like what's the nuts and bolts.
Sure, Jamie. So yeah, so Omnisend is a marketing automation tool which is built for everyone who is selling online. So we are focusing on like e-commerce stores, all the way from like beginners, small merchants who just have started their online store, their maybe after hour activities and like one-man show. We start from there. We help them to collect subscribers, to start sending their first campaigns, to automate their first like abundant carts and like
Mhm.
very basic things. And then all the way to like mid-sized businesses, like established companies, like doing tens of millions in GMV. We're not focusing on like really large ones, but
Mhm.
like small to mid-size established businesses. And yeah, what do we help them to do is really we help them to communicate with their existing customers by sending emails, text messages, Facebook Messenger messages, WhatsApp messages, and web push notifications, and even synchronizing like different segments with Google AdWords and Facebook ads to
Oh,
run
okay.
lookalike campaigns, or let's say retargeting campaigns for
Mhm.
that proper segment. It's all in one tool. It's you can build it all on a single flow, so you can like you as a marketer or owner of a business, you can define which channel which would you start the campaign, which is like following channel.
Mhm.
On the other hand, your customers have ability to choose their most preferred channels for communication. So
cool.
once you ask, to someone to subscribe to your communication, so still up until now, like vast majority of businesses, what do? They ask for email address only.
Right.
Okay, as we understand, there's a subscriber as an email subscriber, but it's one of the things which we at Omnisend, we want to like broaden it, the definition of subscriber. That subscriber is anyone of your existing customers who actually gave you a consent to communicate. Might be via email, might be via text messages, might be via messengers, or any other channel. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, so that's basically what we do.
I love it. So you guys focus on e-commerce. So
yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
I just kind of want to go to the like nuts and bolts, but like, what is e-commerce? Like, what does that mean? And then,
so anyone who's selling online, like, okay, I mean, yeah, that's a good question. Actually, like online, if you're selling like through Amazon or eBay, so you don't own your contacts.
Right.
Amazon and eBay owns, and you can pay them to communicate with your existing customer base.
Oh, okay.
And you pay them commissions, and they drive you traffic. If you own your own online store on Shopify, Ecommerce, Magento, WooCommerce, any of those platforms, which is like branded with your domain, your brand, etc. So then we help them. So yeah, basically, in our kind of minds, the e-commerce are those who own their branded stores on any of those platforms, so any other platform globally. So so this is e-commerce, and they sell online, and transaction is basically happening online. Your customers don't need to interact with you physically.
Okay.
So that's the definition, I would say.
And what are you seeing as the growth of e-commerce? Like, what is the future of e-commerce? Do you think everything's going to be online at some point?
So what we believe in is that like commerce in general, and like in 10 years, and this COVID crisis is actually accelerating that a lot.
It's accelerating a lot of things.
Yeah, including e-commerce. I would say blend of e-commerce and traditional like brick and mortar retail. So what we strongly believe that like in the perspective of like 7 to 10 years, there will be no e-commerce and there will be no retail anymore. There will be just commerce, omnichannel commerce. So what is the future? Let's say you are willing to buy a jacket. So now you go to the department store or like in a brick and mortar store, you find a size which fits you, but you don't find the color you like. Yeah. And so we believe that in the future, there will be just showrooms, fitting rooms, so where you go, you just have one single piece of all the jackets available for all the sizes, all the colors, but just one single piece for each one. You fit, if you like it, so you just go to the cashier and you ask to deliver it to your doors the same day. And by the time you get back home, you find it by your doors. So that's the future with those physical occasions and shopping malls will be more transformed into like experience spaces. And this is already the trend which is happening. Shopping malls are introducing more and more kind of like entertainment, like cinemas, restaurants, and a lot of things which are not related directly to the shopping. And shops will be transformed into experience spaces. And probably like the first to introduce that already back in the days was Apple, where their stores were really transformed into experience and spaces and like showrooms, and the way you can play, you can spend a lot of time there, etc. So this is definitely the direction entire retail will be going, or at least we believe in that.
Yeah, I mean, we have a Tesla showroom. In one of our malls. Like you just go in, look at the Teslas, and then order it, which is hilarious to me. But it's really cool, right? You don't have to walk around the car a lot or deal with the people. Like you can just go look at the couple of models, decide what you want, and just order it.
Yeah. Touch it, feel it.
Yeah.
Which is very important.
Yeah, and we see that with pop-up shops and things like that. There's some like women's clothing that does that. But that's really cool.
Yeah. So pop-up shops is a really good example of another direction. Then those businesses which were born as like online businesses, they are going offline in the format of pop-up shops.
Yeah.
So and even like Amazon, which was born as a resistance for traditional retail, is opening physical stores. They have acquired physical retail, of course, grocery stores, chain, etc. So Whole Foods. So it's all those are really good examples of commerce being blended both ways, and boundaries are melting.
Yeah, so we could only, for a little bit there, we could only return things at the Amazon store in our local mall. And so you have to go into the store and look at the things. And I was just like, don't look. We spend enough money at Amazon. But it was really easy to return stuff because they have everything on, they just, here you go. Here's your money. But we had to go to the mall. Which means we had to get Starbucks, and we had to go walk around the Lego shop, and we had to go, we had to go do all the things.
That's true.
So I think I just answered my question on that one. So talk to us about omnichannel marketing. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, so followed by what I have just explained as what we fundamentally believe what is the future of commerce. So if we believe that us as customers will have ability to buy wherever we like, however we like, in different formats. So we believe that marketing should be following this trend as well, and brands, companies should offer customers to choose their most preferred channels. And so for kind of all those channels like email, text messages, messengers, notifications, which are currently available, nobody knows what will be available in 5 to 10 years. Whatever channels will appear, but we believe that all those channels have to be offered for your customers to choose what is the most preferred for them. It's from a customer standpoint, I have ability to choose. From a marketer, from a company standpoint, is like you should build campaigns, and you should start like thinking less in campaigns, but start thinking more in customer life cycle and lifetime value. That's what we believe too. And here it's where variety of channels is really an omnichannel approach is really helping you, because you can start running those life cycle based and trigger based automated campaigns throughout different channels. And you don't need to have like 5 or 7 tools to run those campaigns. You can put it on a single flow. Just basic example. Let's say abundant cart reminder is like the most popular automation by far globally, used by most online stores, etc. So, what usually happens, the tool is identifying that, okay, someone like Jamie has abandoned the cart, and the email is being sent to her. So, what if we would add a text message? If Jamie ignores our first email, we send a web push notification, of course, if we have a permission from Jamie. If Jamie's ignoring that, maybe we're sending a text message. If she still keeps ignoring us, we synchronize her data with Google and Facebook ads to run retargeting campaign, which is the most costly way to reach out to Jamie again. But yeah, for a marketer, you just 2 things. One, you do it in the most cost-effective way, and second thing, your campaign is not that intrusive, because you don't start bombarding Jamie with messages through like many different channels at the same time. You just do it like one by one, trying to find what works the best for Jamie in this case.
Oh, that's what they're doing. I see. Because I'm always like, why do I get an email and then sometimes a text and then sometimes an email later, and then depending on what what the text is, but it's not like all their new releases, but it's like maybe something I might be interesting.
One way is really like, utilize those different channels, and maybe we see that Jamie is always reading text messages but never reacts to our emails. So we should start targeting her through that channel more. As simple as that.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I see what they're doing. I get it now. It's cool though, because, if I wasn't paying attention before, if I get a text, which is fine, they rarely text me I'm like, oh, that's really cool launch or whatever. So it's like very specific probably to what I've purchased in the past or what I've searched for in the past or whatever. So
Highly likely.
that's really
Highly
interesting.
likely, yeah. Highly likely that it's based on your past behavior or whatever. Is it browsing or is it like purchase history? Yeah, so
It's
it's
interesting. It's interesting how much data is out there about like our purchasing,
mm-hmm. That's true.
how we
It
purchase
is.
things and why we're purchasing.
Yeah, there is data, and but like and there are like privacy concerns. But
Mhm.
okay, so how much of our like data about our behavior are we okay to allow businesses to collect about us and to utilize that?
Mhm.
But in general, kind of people are willing to exchange their personal data, like in exchange of more relevant communication.
Mhm.
Because what happens? Yes, I kind of giving out my personal, even my like email addresses or phone numbers, but in exchange I get just much more relevant communication, and probably there is nothing much more intrusive in the world as the ads which are not relevant for me.
Mhm.
Old school TV, then I'm forced to watch like 20 minutes of ads which are completely irrelevant for me.
Right.
So like a lot of people, including myself, and a lot of people, they are absolutely fine to exchange personal data into much more relevant communication promo messages. So
Yeah. That's
that's
really
the trick.
interesting. I always laugh because like if I'm watching Hulu or something, I'll get like Jaguar ads and I'm like, y'all don't know me at all. It's like I've been looking at Hyundais. And I'm like, this is highly, and it's just not relevant. And I'm just always laughing because I'm like, I'm not buying a Jaguar.
Yeah, okay, so data is not always like 100% correct. Everybody makes mistakes, including artificial intelligence. So
It just
so
makes me laugh every time.
yeah.
So, you guys are very focused on multi-channel and not just email. So can you just kind of talk about, why email just doesn't always work? I think you kind of talked about that, but, everybody really focuses on email marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so email is still kind of the most effective way for communicating with your existing customers. Just
Mm-hmm.
still like, but the most like even more, what is even more effective is really augmenting email with other channels. So
Mm-hmm.
SMS is one of those channels, text messages, which is reliving its renaissance, and it's really very effective, and return on investment is really great. Usually the subscriber base is usually smaller comparing to what you have on your email list,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's really worth doing that. And what's good about SMS comparing like text message, let's say 3 or 5 years ago, that like everybody has smartphone, so basically customer journey continues on the smartphone, so you
Mm-hmm.
don't lose the contact. You just customer is clicking on the link, it's opening mobile friendly website, and they can continue all the way to the transaction, to the
Mm-hmm.
purchase. It's one thing, and the second thing is really much easier to unsubscribe. So it's really depending on like country. In the US, you can just send back stop and the campaign will be stopped. So it's as easy as that. Or the link can be used to unsubscribe.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much similar logic as in email. So just a short link, you click on that, you go to a landing page which says, okay, so sorry to see you go. Would you really like to unsubscribe? Yes, I would like to unsubscribe.
Mm-hmm.
So people are kind of because like more and more people know about this, but it's not difficult to exit SMS campaigns. It
Mm-hmm.
was the case a few years ago still. Then if I get into the list, I'm bombarded by text messages and I cannot unsubscribe easily. So it's not the case anymore. And for the marketer, is really the person who is giving you a phone number is usually a bit more kind of an advocate of your brand,
Mm-hmm.
of your store, of the
Mm-hmm.
product you're selling. So he's kind of a better customer. So once you collect phone numbers, you send campaigns via text messages, etc. So usually you get really good return on investment here.
Okay.
Or there are different occasions when you should be using different channels. So let's say for just bulk campaigns when you want to introduce your new collection on your aisles, etc. So email is perfect. For a lot of like the follow-up messages, text message is really perfect. Let's say we have just dispatched your parcel, or like 1 week after you have delivered your product. So ask about how did you like it? How did you like experience? Can you evaluate us like NPS, any other evaluation questions? So survey. So again, sending text message, it usually guarantees you much better like open rates and visibility. As you know, you can ignore the email in the inbox, but it's much more difficult to ignore text messages.
Huh. I love it. Yeah, you're kind of like, I'm just like, you know, I do a lot. I buy a lot of stuff online. Like we do pretty much everything online at this point. But yeah, so some of the companies that I've, you know, highly interacted with, then, you know, they'll send me a text message, or, you know, because like, for example, I do Rent the Runway. So I'll get a text message when it's shipped, get a text message when it arrives, you know, things like that. And then they also send a message just like, you know, please, you know, rate them or whatever. Which is really nice, because it's like, okay, I can just do that without having to think about it, because I want to do that thing. And then you also get a good idea of like who will interact with you on those, like in your target markets.
And you know, and again, it's even those text messages which you have just mentioned, they're not promotional. Like they don't offer you anything else to buy like directly. But what does that mean? That you interact with the same brand again and again and again. And then next time when you need like similar product, who will be top of mind? The brand which interacted you more. And so it's another very important thing to understand, that, you know, marketers, when we think about like marketing things, it shouldn't be always like pushy, and it shouldn't be like always promotion by like the pure meaning of the word promotion, as you know, just showing that you care about your customers. And sending like post-purchase text messages is one of the ways to show that you care about your customers. You keep them informed. So, you know, it's very important.
I like it. So you know, you kind of talked about this, but how does a business pick their channels? How do they pick which channels they want? Like, do they do it based on their customers? Do they just kind of try it? Kind of combination of both?
Yes, probably it's a combination of both. So it depends on business, and usually, like, you know, email is the most popular channel by far, and then businesses start with emails, and then they start adding and experimenting with different channels as well. So SMS is because it's so effective, it's really kind of a trend. So if you're a marketer, you read kind of, you know, blogs, etc. So people start talking more and more about text messages. So of course you have to try it. So that's you know. That's probably the thing, And like Facebook Messenger was very popular, but after this Cambridge Analytica scandal, they put like applied a lot of restrictions on what businesses can actually do and how can they communicate with their customers, and it's like really limited now, much more than it used to be before.
Yeah, I would have like Messenger.
Last election.
Yeah, well, I would have companies be like, "Hey, you left your cart," like just message after message after message, and I'm like, "Stop."
Yeah. So, but I think it's just, you know, a good example of like it was like just way too liberal, and like no control, and like absolute Wild West. But you know, when Zuckerberg started going to to like committees and Senate, etc. So they just put all the restrictions they could. So instead of like balancing and leaving it somewhere in the middle, that it's, you know, sanely usable and then like not intrusive for customers, but they put a lot of restrictions. So we'll see how it goes in the future. TikTok is coming, so there will be new.
TikTok's the whole thing right now, apparently. I keep opening the app and going, I don't know what I'm doing here, and closing it. I'm pretty tech savvy. I don't understand TikTok. So before I ask my last question, what is the easiest way for people to find you?
Omnisend.com. It's our website. Yeah, so just go there, and if you are on any of those platforms like Shopify, Ecommerce, Woo, Magento, so you can find us in app stores. So just really plug and play, easy to connect. And yeah, omnisend.com. You can start free trial there, and even use a free version for the beginners. Sign up and use it in self-service way if you're a bit larger and you would like us to guide you through the process. So our sales executives are always ready to help you, and you can book a demo there.
You guys have different levels of service.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
for different
that's correct. Yeah.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So final question, what is the one thing most e-commerce businesses are missing in their marketing to become effective?
So I would say really kind of utilizing more channels, and still vast majority is stick to email. And that's what we are really kind of advocating strongly, that you have to add more channels to that. They are not like as equally effective as email, but when you combine different channels, let's say like among our customer base, we saw that those who are using at least 3 channels, they have like way better conversion rates. Like 3 times better conversion rates, because that's how you are able to find, as we already discussed about, like more people, and we offer them the most preferred channels to talk to the brand and to communicate to the brand. So yeah, I would say this is probably my key advice for try more channels, put them on a single flow, and yeah, you will see really better results.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rytis. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for inviting.
Thank you so much for listening or watching. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, or wherever you prefer to listen. If you learned something and found some useful information to apply to your business today, please consider giving us a thumbs up and a review. Until next week, be abundant.